So Brett sent me a message on Instagram asking for a little update on chickens, and that's what we'll do today. So the plan was to butcher these guys all July 4th weekend. The problem is back in January, I was going back and forth debating whether to do the white broilers or what they often call the Cornish cross, or try this different breed that we haven't tried before called the Rainbow Rangers. These ones are supposed to be a lot better at free ranging. There's less risk of heart attack. They don't put the weight on as quickly, and it just seemed like a better fit for us. But during that time, my mind was still thinking about those white broilers, and I ordered them middle of May, so that puts them around 7 weeks right now. And when we do the white broilers, we always try to have them all taken care of by the 8th week. So there's a couple things that come into play when we select our chickens. When we're selecting layers, of course, we're gonna wanna try to find a chicken that lays quite often. But the other big driving factor behind that is actually the temperament of the breed. You know, like white leghorns are what they use a lot of times for the white eggs commercially that you find in your grocery store. They're a bird that produces quite a bit, but they're also a little flighty, and we just try to stay clear of them. We really focus on temperament because Grace likes to get in there and handle them, and if they can't play nice with her, we're gonna have a problem, and they're gonna be immediately in that freezer. So with that being said, these birds have been very well mannered towards us. There hasn't been any aggression, but we have noticed a little bit of aggression towards each other, even at a pretty young age. But now they're starting to get up to that maturity age where it's starting to get pretty easy to distinguish the roosters from the hens, or a lot of the signs are starting to be there. So like I mentioned, every breed of chicken is different. When it comes time to identify the roosters from the hen, there are a couple signs you can look for, but there are some variances. You know, some chickens don't have what they call like wattles, which is that part that hangs under their neck. Sometimes like some breeds don't have very much of a comb, if any at all. So there are a couple things you can kind of look at here. You can look, roosters tend to have tail feathers that tend to curve a little bit more. Their comb tends to be a lot larger than the hens, and it tends to be a lot more red. Same with their wattle. Their wattle tends to be bigger and more red. But one of the things that they say that the best way to identify is actually look at the tail feathers. If you look closely at the tail feathers on a hen, they have more of a rounded tip, where the roosters have a little bit more of a pointy tip and not quite as defined feathers. So for the total cost, we're figuring these birds are gonna come out to around $5 to $6 per bird. So not exactly, you know, ultra cheap price here. So obviously you could go to the store, buy things cheaper, but there's a lot more that goes into it for us than, you know, even just the obvious. You know, we know where these birds came from, we know how they're raised, what they ate, what their environment was like, and how their lives were ended. I don't know if you guys watch the Homestead Network. It's basically live events that go on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Basically different YouTube channels take different blocks, hour blocks, and there you're able to jump into a chat room, have a conversation. There's different talking points carried on by these different channels. Kind of gets the conversation rolling a little bit. Just a fun time. You can kind of banter with people in the chat room. I enjoy it quite a bit. Unfortunately, it's something I'm not able to attend all that often because most of the time I'm outside till it's dark. And at least at this time of the year, whether I'm doing something or not, if the sun's shining, I'm probably outside. But the nice part is you're able to go back and watch, you know, they release them after the live event is. You're just not able to interact with the fun conversations that go on in the chat room. So the reason I bring this up is Brad's family, the big family homestead over there, one of the talking points he brought up was in last week's video was how disconnected we are from our food nowadays. They were out butchering his chickens, or 10 chickens that day. He got some blood on his pants, and then he didn't notice it until he was out in public and was a little worried about someone getting the wrong idea. It got me thinking a little bit, you know. We've been doing this 5 or 6 years, and I guess I didn't really think that much of it until he had brought up that point a little bit, and it's like, well, you know, that is true. You know, it wasn't that uncommon. I mean, there was a lot of families that used to have chickens in their backyard, pigs in their backyard. It was a very, very common thing. That's even how a lot of families even made it through the Great Depression. And you look at times right now and the way the economy has been just, you know, especially the way the markets have been playing, it's, you know, it's a little shaky at times. So I'm surprised that more people aren't involved in this, but there's a whole lot more that has gone into it. For us as a family, you know, obviously it's never easy to take care of the execution part, but it has done quite a bit for our personal family. You know, we know all the work that was involved in raising the animal. We know, you know, all the money that was spent on feeding the animal and making sure that animal is, you know, healthy and well cared for. all the time spent to process that animal and get it packaged up and ready to consume. We've wasted a lot less food, I guarantee it, by doing this because of those reasons. When my wife sits down to make a dinner at night, she goes out and selects portion sizes that we know are not going to be wasted. And if we're not able to finish what has been put out, we'll find a way to make that meat used in another meal, whether, you know, cutting that chicken breast up and using it in a stir fry or something the next night. We find ways to utilize that. Even like the bones, you know, you're able to make bone broth. There's so many uses for these animals, and we have felt that we've wasted so much less because of our involvement in this. So if you're someone that is not set up for this, you know, but let's say you're a hunter or something, deer hunter. I know a lot of deer hunters, they go out, they shoot the animal, they gut the animal, and then they just go take it into the butcher to have them processed. I encourage you, if that's you, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but if that's you, I encourage you to take the time and hang that, skin that deer, butcher that thing up, to take the time to get all that silver skin off. It will make you have so much more respect for the animal and utilize the animal more, because you have so much more time of yours and money invested into it. Well, maybe not money I mean, it's expensive, I think, to go have a deer process. I've never had it done, but I think it's pretty expensive. So enough of this talking here. We'll wrap this video up here. I don't think that was my main intention to go with the video tonight, but we'll just go with that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.